Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be taking a look at The Alchemist
Oh, yeah.
by Paulo Coelho.
I've heard of this one.
Yeah, so this book, it's kind of a big deal, and we're going to be taking a deep dive into some excerpts from it.
Okay, cool.
The Alchemist has sold like a gazillion copies.
Wow.
65 million.
Yeah, that's a lot.
80 languages.
Okay, so clearly something about this book is appealing to a lot of people.
Yeah, so we're going to try and figure out what that is.
Sounds good.
We're going to be focusing on themes and symbolism.
Yeah.
And this book it's not just a story.
Oh,
It's almost like a guide to understanding your own dreams and desires.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so it all starts with Santiago, a shepherd who has this crazy, vivid dream about finding treasure
Okay.
at the pyramids of Egypt.
At the pyramids.
But it's not just a one-time thing. It keeps
Right.
coming back.
Like it's trying to tell him something.
Yeah, like a message from the universe or something.
Right, and that actually brings us to one of the big ideas in The Alchemist.
Right. The soul of the world.
Okay.
It's like this universal consciousness that connects all of us.
So it's kind of like we're all connected.
Exactly.
And this soul of the world sometimes communicates with us through our dreams.
Dreams, omens, all sorts of things.
Right. So it's like the universe is sending Santiago a telegram saying, hey, pay attention to this.
Uh-huh.
And then there's that part where the fortune teller,
Oh, yeah.
she tells Santiago that the simplest things are the most extraordinary.
Right.
Which is interesting because that's kind of like the whole point of the book.
Yeah, you don't need to overcomplicate things.
Right. It's the simple things in life.
The simple things.
And this makes you wonder,
What about it?
what about our own dreams and desires?
Yeah, what are we ignoring?
What are we missing? Are those our own little messages from like the soul of the world?
It's possible.
So Santiago, he decides to follow his dream,
Good for him.
and he meets this mysterious king.
A king?
Yeah, Melchizedek.
Okay.
And Melchizedek introduces this idea of a personal legend. Personal legend.
Yeah, it's basically the thing you're meant to do in life.
Like your purpose.
Exactly your unique purpose.
So everyone has one.
That's what the book suggests.
Interesting.
But a lot of times we end up burying this desire
Why would we do that?
because we're afraid.
Afraid of what?
Afraid of failure. Afraid of the unknown.
So we choose comfort over our dreams.
Yeah, we settle for a safe and comfortable life instead of chasing our personal legend.
But this book is saying that the universe actually wants us to pursue our dreams.
It does.
So we're actually going against the grain.
It's like a cosmic conspiracy to make us awesome.
Uh-huh. I like that.
But how do we figure out what our personal legend even is?
Yeah, is it something we're born with, or do we discover it along the way?
Right. In the book, Santiago learns through experience.
He's a hands-on learner.
He dives right in.
I see.
But then there's the Englishman.
Oh, yeah, what about him?
He's all about knowledge and books.
He's more of a theoretical learner.
Yeah, he's trying to understand the world through reading and studying.
Okay, so two different approaches.
Right, and I think they both have value.
Yeah, you need both experience and knowledge.
It reminds me of the alchemist himself.
How so?
He didn't just read about turning lead into gold.
Right.
He actually did it.
By living his personal legend.
Exactly.
That's a good point.
It's not enough to just know something.
I have to actually do
You
it.
have to put it into practice.
Align your actions with your purpose.
Now, throughout this journey, Santiago, he's really trying to connect with his heart,
Okay.
but it's not always easy.
What do you mean?
He's dealing with all sorts of emotions. Fear, love, excitement, doubt.
That's normal.
Is it?
The heart isn't a logical machine.
I guess not.
It's alive. It feels things.
So that makes sense.
The key is to listen to it to understand what it's trying to tell you.
There's this one line that really stuck with me.
Oh, yeah. Which one?
Ignoring his heart is not an option. Once he has learned to listen to it, he will never be able to stop.
Wow. That's powerful.
It's like once you tap into that inner voice,
You can't go back.
you can't unhear it.
So what happens when we do ignore our hearts?
Yeah, what are we missing out on?
When we suppress our true desires?
It makes you think.
It does.
Now let's talk about Santiago's love story with Fatima.
Oh, yeah. At the oasis.
Yeah, he meets her at the oasis, and they fall in love.
But then he has to leave.
Right, he has to choose between staying with her.
And pursuing his personal legend.
Exactly, and it's a tough decision.
It brings up the question of whether we can truly possess what we love.
Right, like if you really love something, do you need to hold on to it?
Or can you let it go?
And Fatima, she has this interesting perspective on it.
What does she say?
She talks about how men leave and then they return.
Like it's a natural cycle.
Yeah, and the alchemist, he also weighs in on this.
What does he say?
He says that staying with Fatima would show a lack of trust.
A lack of trust in what?
In love and in destiny.
So he thinks leaving will actually strengthen both.
Yeah, it's an interesting perspective.
It makes you think about relationships in a different way.
It does.
Like maybe letting go is the most loving thing you can do sometimes.
This is getting deep.
It is.
Yeah, it really is. And things get even more interesting as Santiago continues on his journey into the desert. He starts seeing all these signs and omens, almost like the universe is sending him messages.
Right, this is where that idea of maktub comes in.
Maktub.
Yeah, it means it is written.
Oh, right.
Like it's destiny.
Okay, so the hawk omen foreshadowing danger. The fact that this phrase keeps popping up, it really makes you think about fate versus free will.
It does.
How much control do we actually have over our lives?
Right. Is our path already set, or can we choose our own adventure?
And Santiago really struggles with this.
Especially when he's trying to understand why some people never achieve their personal legend.
Right? Like, why do some people seem to be on the right track and others aren't?
It's a good question.
It reminds me of that story about the camel driver.
Oh, yeah, the one who spent years looking for fortune tellers.
Yeah, he was obsessed with trying to predict his future.
And in the end, the wisest seer told him that only God knows the future.
Right. We can't know the future. Only God can. But the omens, those are meant to guide us in the present.
Yeah, Chloe.
It's not about passively waiting for things to happen.
It's about being present, being aware of the signs, and making choices that are aligned with our purpose.
So it's like a dance between fate and free will.
I think so. The more in tune we are with the soul of the world, the more we can hear those whispers of guidance.
And make choices that lead us toward our own unique path.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that feeling of being guided by something bigger than myself.
Me too. Those moments of synchronicity where everything just seems to fall into place.
Yeah, it's like there's a deeper order to things that we don't always see.
Maybe the alchemist is trying to tell us that we shouldn't dismiss those moments as coincidence.
Right. Maybe they're actually invitations to align ourselves with our destiny.
Okay, but how do we apply all of this to our everyday lives?
Yeah, I mean, not all of us are going to go on a desert quest like Santiago.
True, but that's the beauty of the alchemist.
How so?
It encourages us to find the extraordinary in the ordinary,
Okay.
to see the potential for transformation in even the most mundane parts of our lives.
It's about recognizing the value in ourselves and the world around us.
Right, like alchemy itself.
It's not just about turning lead into gold.
It's about recognizing the potential within.
Seeing the gold within.
Exactly.
Like Santiago, we all have that potential for greatness.
But it often takes a journey, a challenging journey, to uncover it.
So the treasure isn't the destination. It's the transformation we go through along the way.
Right, and that journey is different for everyone.
There's no one right way to fulfill our purpose.
But the alchemist gives us some good clues.
It does. Listen to your heart, pay attention to the signs, embrace the unknown.
And trust the journey.
Trust the journey. And in the end, Santiago, he actually finds the treasure he was looking for. But it's clear that the journey itself was the real prize.
Yeah, he's not the same guy anymore.
Not at all. He went through so much.
He faced danger, learned to listen to his heart,
Right.
discovered the true meaning of alchemy.
And it wasn't just about the gold.
It was about finding himself.
Yeah, the treasure was like this symbol of his own transformation.
Makes you think about what we're all searching for.
What our own personal treasure might be.
Maybe it's not a physical thing.
Right? Maybe it's something more like a state of being.
Deeper understanding of ourselves.
And our place in the world.
Exactly.
So it's not really about the destination. It's about who we become along the way.
That's a great way to put it.
And that brings us back to this idea of the personal legend.
Right. It's not just about achieving some goal. It's about the journey.
The journey of self-discovery.
And that journey is different for everyone.
There's no one-size-fits-all path.
But the alchemist gives us some good advice.
He does.
Listen to your heart. Pay attention to the signs.
Embrace the unknown.
Trust the journey.
So before we wrap up, what do you think our listeners should take away from all of this?
I'd like to leave them with a question.
Okay.
What's one small step you can take today to align yourself with your own personal legend?
I love that. It doesn't have to be anything big.
Right, it could be something small.
Like starting a project you've been putting off.
Or having a tough conversation with someone.
Or just taking some time to listen to your heart.
Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
And the alchemist reminds us that we all have an amazing journey waiting for us.
If we're willing to embrace the adventure.
Well, this has been such a fascinating deep dive into the alchemist.
It has.
I hope you're feeling inspired to revisit the book.
Or maybe even read it for the first time.
And if you're feeling brave, share your thoughts with us on social media.
We'd love to hear about your own personal journeys.
Until next time, happy diving.